Hello everybody, today I will be doing my top 10 favorite mobile games. Now usually I rank all of them from worst to best whatever I'm ranking, but since I've played so many mobile games, I'll be doing a top 10 instead. So first of all, we'll go through the criteria. So first of all, I'll do a minor spoiler alert. Even though I didn't put any huge spoilers, I think it's better to put it here just in case. Second of all, I must say that this is based on my own opinion, so you could disagree with me, but this is my own opinion. And third of all, this is based on how much I enjoyed the games personally, so I could have found that another game was better than the other one, objectively, but I may have still enjoyed another one more, so I placed it higher. And let's get this started now. So first of all is an honorable mention, Pokemon Masters EX. So Pokemon Masters EX is a gacha game where you use Pokemon / trainer pairs to fight other trainer and Pokemon pairs. As you can see right here. So first of all, I played this game like a decent amount, not too much. And I think that the Pokemon trainer pairs are really cool since you can fight with so many different trainers and their Pokemon. One thing I find really cool is the Signa suits, which is basically a different version of a character that will use a different Pokemon. So you can see a trainer with different Pokemons to use, which I think is super cool. One bad thing about this game though is that the gameplay overall isn't the funnest, and that this game is really pay to win, and you could call it gacha slop because it has so many different currencies you don't even know what it does. It's really unbalanced, which is one big problem with the game, which is why I didn't rank it higher. Next up is another honorable mention, which is Dragon City. Dragon City is a game where you build a floating city, you collect and raise dragons. So I played this game for about a year, and what I like about this game is that there are a lot of different dragons, like a few thousand. So there's a huge diversity of dragons. This game is mostly a wait game. What I mean by this is that most of the time you just come, collect your daily rewards, and you just leave and don't do anything until the next day. And apart from all the daily rewards and everything, most of the gameplay is battling, and honestly, I don't find the battling very fun. So that's why I placed it in honorable mentions. And now we can actually start with the real list. Number 10, Blox Fruits. But since Blox Fruits is a Roblox game, I kind of counted Roblox with it. So Blox Fruits is a Roblox game based off of One Piece, and you travel across different seas, go to different islands to get different fruits, fighting styles, and cool weapons like swords or guns. And first of all, the locations are really cool. Like for example, this volcano island that you see there. And they're cool locations based off of One Piece, which is cool. I like the cool powers from all the fruits, fighting styles, and weapons. Like you see all the fruits over here. They all have a different moveset, which I think is really cool. And this game actually got me into One Piece, and since One Piece is one of my favorite anime, that definitely helps it out. But a big problem with Blox Fruits is that it's really grindy. Since it's a Roblox game, obviously the gameplay won't be the most engaging, so that's why it's still pretty low on the list. Next up, number 9 is Geometry Dash Lite. So, Geometry Dash is a 2D rhythm platformer game where you play as a cube or a ship and you try to dodge spikes. So the reason I'm saying Geometry Dash Lite and not Geometry Dash, even though I have the real version, is because my full version is on the PC, and since I'm ranking mobile games, I can only rank Geometry Dash Lite because that's what I have on my phone. So no online levels and stuff, only the main ones and gauntlets. So one big plus about this game is that it's really satisfying. I mean, it is a rhythm game, so obviously it should be satisfying. The music is really good. Some of the best music I heard was from Geometry Dash. And the visuals are surprisingly really good. You'd think that a game that's just a cube jumping over spikes wouldn't have great visuals, but there are some creators who made really cool stuff with Geometry Dash. So that's really cool. And usually when you complete a level in Geometry Dash, you get a big feeling of accomplishment, which is one of the best parts of Geometry Dash, since you work really hard, die tons of times on a level, and when you finally beat it, it feels really great. The replayability is not the best, but it's okay. Since I have Geometry Dash Lite, after I completed all the main levels and got all the coins, I didn't really have much else to do. But it's still decently replayable, so that's why I said it was okay. And one big problem with Geometry Dash is that it is really easy to lose motivation. On average, it'll take you about over 100 attempts to beat a level. So it can get pretty grindy, which could make you easily lose motivation, which can make you quit. So that's a big problem with the game. And next up is Pokemon Go. Pokemon Go is a game where you go outside to catch Pokemon, so it tracks your real life location. I played this for 3 years, got to level 50 and then quit, but my dad still plays it. One thing I like about Pokemon Go is that collecting different Pokemon and filling up your Pokedex is really fun. And it's really fun to go to real life places and see what Pokestops and gyms are there. And it encourages you to go outside, which is definitely a plus. Now here's the problem though. Let's say you can't really go outside today since it's raining or something, and you want to play Pokemon Go. There's really not much to do other than battling, and the battling isn't really unique or advanced. It's mostly just tapping the screen as fast as possible for your Pokemon to attack, which is kind of boring. So yeah, that's a problem with Pokemon Go. Well, next up is Brawl Stars. Brawl Stars, it's a multiplayer online game where you fight other people as 100 different brawlers. It's there are tons of brawlers you can pick, which is really cool. I played it for about a year and I got to Mythic rank, so I'd say I'm decent at the game, and I quit though. I like how there's many different brawlers, which is really cool since each one has different move sets and different abilities, which makes them all very unique. This game is probably the most replayable game that I've played on my phone, since even after you've collected your daily rewards or gone for your daily offers, you can just go into a game and keep playing for hours on end. The events are really cool. The devs are really active, and there are tons of cool collaborations. But one big problem is that this game is really toxic, and that may have been the reason I quit. Because sometimes playing Brawl Stars actually doesn't lighten your mood and makes you sadder instead and more angry. Because almost every game there's always someone to blame for the losing team. So this game is really toxic, so it could be bad for your mental health, which is why I kind of quit it, because I found it kind of not fun anymore. And now we're stepping up a notch, not saying that the games that we just covered were bad, but I'm just saying that the games that we're about to cover are the ones that really stuck with me. So next up is Battle Cats. So Battle Cats is a 2D game where you deploy cats to fight enemies. So that's pretty simple. And currently, I'm on Into the Future Chapter 3. I'm on the final level, but I can't seem to beat it. So one thing that's really cool about Battle Cats is that there are a lot of different units that you can send, which means there are tons of diverse strategies that you can use. So the unique enemies and cats are all really cool since they all do something different. Battle Cats is a gacha game, which could be a bad thing, but honestly, I feel like Battle Cats did the gacha really well, since it's really balanced and you really don't need to pay any money to roll on it. So I think the gacha in Battle Cats is actually really nice. One problem with Battle Cats is that it's pretty easy to get stuck, which can make you lose motivation and want to stop playing the game. And the gameplay can be grindy sometimes if you want to grind resources to upgrade a cat or to grind treasures. So yeah, that can be a problem and can make the gameplay boring. But overall, Battle Cats is a really fun game, and I still play it to this day. Next up is Pokemon Unite. So Pokemon Unite is a 5v5 arena game where you defeat wild Pokemon, fight your enemies, and you can score goals on them, which is your way to win. And I got to expert rank and then I quit. So Pokemon Unite is very replayable, kind of like Brawl Stars. I like how there's so many different Pokemon that you can play as, and each of them have a diverse move set, which is really cool. The matches are long. I don't know if that's a positive or a negative, but I felt like I had to note it in here anyways. I don't really like the new Pokemon though. So one thing I liked about Pokemon Unite was that it made some niche or irrelevant Pokemon relevant again, or gave it more attention. Like for example, you see here Crustle. So before Pokemon Unite, I didn't really bat an eye to, but since I started playing Pokemon Unite, I realized that its moveset with Crustle was really fun. So I liked how they gave different Pokemon unique movesets, like ones that weren't popular. But you see these new Pokemon here, mostly just starters, legendaries, and popular Pokemon. And that kinda reduced the charm of the game. So that's one of the reasons I quit. And lastly, kind of like Pokemon Master EX, there are way too many paywalls and random currencies that I don't think even matter to the game. Like, I'm pretty sure there's some skins that cost about $200 where you can't even get it without paying money. So that is a big problem. And next up, number 4, Plants vs. Zombies. Plants vs. Zombies is a tower defense game where you plant plants to fight zombies, obviously. And I beat the game twice. So Plants vs. Zombies is really fun because I like to plant my defense and use different cool strategies. The mini games are really fun, like Walnut Bowling, for example. But the gameplay is pretty slow, which makes the game easier and makes the level longer. But sometimes it can make it a drag to play the game because I don't want to hop into a level knowing that'll take like 5 minutes to beat the level. And it can make the game too easy sometimes. But the game overall is still pretty fun. But the biggest problem is definitely that it has way too many ads. Like there's about a 1-minute ad before every level for some reason. And it's really laggy because for some reason I just get kicked out of the game for zero reason. So next up is Plants vs. Zombies 2. So Plants vs. Zombies 2 has the same premise as the first game, but instead you travel through time to beat zombies from different periods in history. Like you can see up in the top right corner here, the different worlds you go to. So obviously it has way more content than PvZ1, which is why I put it above the first game. It is faster paced, which can make it better or worse sometimes. the world concepts are really cool. For example, I really like Lost City. I think it's a really cool world. The bosses are kind of lackluster. Like, they feel all the same. I feel like they could have been more creative with the bosses. And one of the big problems, I really wish there were more mini games. Since it has way more content, it has way more potential to have cool mini games, but instead they didn't make any. I feel like they should have done that. And last of all, it's definitely pay to win. You see all of these plants here? About half of them, you can't get them if you don't pay any money, which is really sad. But yeah, overall, I feel like with the content and with all the stuff it could have done, Plants vs. Zombies 1 is probably an overall better game, but purely because of the amount of content, I rated PvZ 2 above PvZ 1. And next, at my number 2 spot is Bloons Tower Defense 6. So Bloons Tower Defense 6 is a game where you just place down monkeys and the monkeys pop balloons, and you don't want those balloons to get past. And each different tower, you could say, base tower, has free paths you can go through, so you can decide to upgrade them through different ways, which I think is really cool. And all the upgrades are really cool. Like you see in the top right corner, you see that big whale? It started as a fish, and you could upgrade it to become an orca, or you could take different paths, which is really cool. The strategies are all fun. There are tons of unique ways you can beat a level, which I find is really cool. But one big problem is that there's not much stuff to push you to play the game. What I mean by this is that most of the time, games have like a story or levels you go through that you're meant to take. But this game, you just like pick a map, pick a difficulty, and try to survive like the set amount of rounds, and you end it. So I wish there was a story or something they could add that could push you to play the game more. And now at my number 1 spot, my favorite mobile game is Plants vs. Zombies Heroes. Now Plants vs. Zombies Heroes is a Plants vs. Zombies card game. And you see you can play as different heroes, which is really cool. They all have really cool designs. So there are tons of cool cards to use, like Gravity, for example, one of my favorite cards. And every hero can use cool strategies with the different cards. So each hero you see here commands different classes, so each one has different strategies, which is really cool. The game also has daily levels, and of the daily levels, I think the puzzle parties are the coolest because they put you into a situation and you have to find the correct moves to make to win in that situation, which I think is really cool. So overall, PvZ Heroes is a really fun game that's also really replayable, but it doesn't get many updates, which is really sad, since the only update so far since like a few years has been a minor balance change update, and that's about it. But apart from that, PvZ Heroes is a really good game and is my favorite mobile game. So thank you for watching, everybody. Like and subscribe.